Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sword and Key, where we will be running a charity game tonight. Tonight, we are running a game of Moonsailors by Anna Maria de Jein, which is about your lonely trek across the stars. I'm Mare. I use they, she pronouns, and I will be helping facilitate this game and playing. Before we go into introducing everyone else tonight, today we will be raising money for the Native American Rights Fund as part of Team SideQuest's November charity event. Words pre-stream jitters. Sorry, everybody. It's been a hot minute since I've hosted a game. The Native Americans Rights Fund holds governments accountable, and they fight to protect Native American rights, resources, and lifeways through litigation, legal advocacy, and legal expertise. If you would like to learn more about their work and what they do, just put !charity in chat, which will bring you to their website. Before we go into character creation and actually start the game, everyone else go around, say hey and hi who you are, not who you're playing, because we will be doing that afterwards. So, who would like to
Hi. Hi, friends. I am Jen. My pronouns are she, they. Yup, that's me. I'll be playing TBD. And I'll popcorn it over to either Natalie or Akemi.
I'll take it. I love my popcorn. Hi, everybody. My name is Natalie. Also, she, they. Most places on the internet with ghost candle. Because I like being a ghost and I like candles and I just float about everywhere like the Canadian cryptid that I am on the interwebs.
Mood.
Yeah.
That leaves me. Hi, I'm Akemi. Pronouns she, they. You can find me wherever I exist on the internet at Ninja Penguin AM. If I can't find me there, I probably don't exist there.
Unfortunately, Foxy could not make it tonight. Foxy, we love you
Okay.
and we miss you so much. So Moonsailors is a GM-less, diceless game where the only thing we really do is roleplay and ask each other's questions to facilitate each person's story. If you would like to, due to the nature of this game, there are no in-game incentives, unfortunately. But we hope that you will donate to a good cause anyway, which you can do by !donate in chat, which will bring it to the Tiltify. If we hit our goal tonight, we will be giving away a $20 gift card to Friday Afternoon Tea, who has amazing, phenomenal tea blends, and they are based out of Seattle, Washington. And if you would like to purchase this game and learn more about it, if you put !moon in chat, it will bring you to Anna Maria's itch. Okay, are we ready to get started?
Let's sail some moons.
Okay.
Yeah.
So first things first is we are going to create our Moonsailors. I'm going to ask all of us, including myself, questions from a list of adjectives or nouns, or mostly adjectives and nouns, and then we will get started. So, who are you? Pick one of the following. You are a drifter, courier, castaway, survivor, or oracle. Let me also write this down because okay. Everyone good? Okay. You travel the system in search of work, meaning, solitude, entities, flotsam, or things of value. Okay. I think that's a hard one. All set? Okay. Your ship is battered, plain, elegant, or gaudy. And then we have a second set of adjectives for our ship, which is reliable, finicky, or powerful. And then this is a long one. So if you need me to repeat it, please tell me and I will do so. You've landed among the stars, on Viridian, at Rosie's Moonlight Diner, near mining base Celadon, on the IAR pitch, at System Satellite 415, on City Ship Sage, on Tyrion, near the Aurelian, on Carnelian, or at Cyclamen Terminal. You know what? We're going to do this one. Okay. Does anyone need any of those repeated? Okay. You're good, Akemi?
Yep.
Okay. And then I figured we can all make our ships draw our ships because no one's going to see it. We can draw our ships behind the scenes as everyone else is playing. And maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll post mine to Twitter later. Who knows? Or as I mentioned earlier, we also do have the Roll20 map. Originally, this game is meant to be played at a table, but I had adapted it for online play. So on the screen, you can see all of our locations as well as our ships. So if all of my fellow players can move their ship to where they landed, that would be great. I have to find where I put myself. Hold on. Okay. Looks like someone's on Viridian, Tyrion, Aurelian, and Cyclamen Terminal.
Look at us go. Lots of inns.
So, the game is played in rounds where there is the active player and then the rest of us. The active player will set the scene, and then the rest of us ask questions to help further their story and their narrative. So, my next question is, does anyone want to go first?
You know what? I will take the leap. Let's just do it.
What color are you again? Are you red?
I am red, yes.
Okay, I just want to put our little screen centered on you.
I am a red ship on I assume, green planet.
So our players cannot see it just because it's a small screen, but each of these little circular tokens does have a small description. You are on Viridian, which is a shattered planet on the edge of the system.
But is it green?
You tell me.
I think it once was green. It was named Viridian for its greenness. But the shattering with a capital S, because everything has to be a capital, every large event has to have a capital letter in front of it. The shattering did rid it of its greenness, along with, everything else on it.
Why are you on this planet? Like, why are you here?
I have heard that there may have been life on Viridian that survived post-shattering. Perhaps subterranean creatures, perhaps creatures that didn't need the now drained atmosphere to live. And I am here in search of doing some light archaeology and possibly finding the descendants of whoever survived, if any, on this planet.
So as a reminder to Natalie and Akemi, now's our chance to bombard Jen with questions for anything that pops into your head as we continue. So feel free to pop in whenever you like.
So you're sort of on a quest of sort of archaeology as well as geology, like what's the right word? I don't know my sciences, but you're searching, like, are you looking to try and find survivors and create like a that's the word, genealogy of what had once existed here? Or was there ever an initial record?
Yes, I am looking for essentially, obviously not a first-hand record, because that may, well, depending on the lifespans of the people who are here, they might be the first, or they might be, many, many times removed. But yes, I'm looking for anyone who could have survived despite the odds, or any indication of what life was like before the shattering with a capital S.
Are you doing this out of curiosity for yourself, or are you working for somebody?
Pure curiosity for myself. I am someone who likes to explore, and I like to find relics of the past. And ideally, people who can tell me about them.
How do you start your search?
By doing something relatively risky. I have brought plenty of climbing gear. The first thing that I do is find a large chunk of planet, one that whatever scanners I happen to have deemed reasonably stable. I have brought climbing gear, and I am climbing down into one of those deep, deep fissures.
What's a bigger emotion for you? Is it the fear of not finding anything or the hope of finding something?
I think it's the fear of finding nothing. Because I've come all this way, I have come across the stars to this planet against my better judgment, against the advice of whoever my space internet friends are. Because I am convinced that there is something here.
What made you so interested in the shattering?
Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I don't believe any of the other places that we are aware of have experienced a cataclysmic event of this magnitude.
I believe you are correct, at least that we know of. These are just one sentence.
Yeah.
Descriptions.
And the cracks in the planet, the way that the planet shattered, didn't seem to track fully with a natural event.
So you think it was potentially intentional or maybe accidental, but definitely not.
It wasn't an earthquake that accidentally split the planet apart, I don't think.
What is your hypothesis on the shattering?
My hypothesis is either some behemoth creature that was hibernating in the center and woke up, or somebody decided, fuck this planet in particular.
Do you have a preference on which one it is?
Oh, I love the behemoth idea.
If you discover this behemoth, are you going to name it?
Oh, absolutely. If there is a behemoth and it is here, I'm going to say hello. I'm going to figure out what it is, who it is, how old it is, what it wants, and if it likes French fries.
French fries, sweet potato fries, tater tots. This is mostly a silly question.
Do you dip it in like mayo, ketchup? Do you poutine it?
Oh, you gotta poutine it. And more importantly, I want to know what, if any, relationship it had with any, if any, inhabitants of the planet before.
What are some of the challenges you're anticipating?
Well, the fact that if it blinks wrong, it might it might just cause an earthquake that will tear me to pieces. That it is angry. Simply the fact that this is a shattered world and it is dangerous to go crawling around in the cracks and crevices when you never know what could happen. And the idea that I am not going to be able to stay here forever if I do make friends with a giant behemoth.
Let me circle back to your beginning expedition into the depths of a planet. You said you were basically belaying down like a trench or something like that.
Yep, I picked a giant crevice.
What do you think you find? Do you think you see just like a huge gorge? Does it keep going? Do you see tunnels?
I think it just keeps going for a long time. I don't know that I find anything on my first expedition down.
How long
You
until
see colors
Okay.
and like layers of the soil.
I do. And I think some of these colors are not what you would see on the ancient human planet Earth.
How long until you stop your first expedition?
I think a day. I would have brought enough supplies to set up one of those like cliffside camps, and taken a night's rest before climbing back up.
So the way the system works is the endings of a scene happen naturally. Do you want to end here? Or do you want to keep going? It's always hard. It's always a weird in between of like when is the stopping point?
I think this is a good starting point.
So at the end of each scene, you take something, but you also leave something behind. What are both?
I am going to take a sample of one of these layers of sediment that does not match anything that I am aware of. We're gonna say it's a light teal color. And I'm going to leave 2 things, if that's okay.
I see no reason why not.
I'm going to leave my climbing gear. And at the top of the crevice, I'm going to leave a note, just kind of pinned to one of the like securing devices, mechanisms, at the top. Just leaving a record of when I was here and what I've seen.
So I'm just writing it in our little document.
Perfect.
And at the end of your turn, you move 1 space. Ignore the grid on roll 20. But you will move to one of your adjacent spaces. In this case, it's going to be one of among the star squares.
I'm going to scoot, I think, this way.
Okay. And that is the end of your turn. And we'll go clockwise on the screen. So that brings us to Natalie. Where did you land?
I landed at the pronounced Cyclamen
Terminal.
Cyclamen Terminal.
Which is a once busy travel hub, now quiet.
Yeah, so I docked in and set up, ready to maybe do some trades with any other travelers passing through that may also come to the terminal in hopes of, similarly stock supplies and get some trades going. Walking through sort of the wide, very rounded tunnel hallways of this terminal, it is very isolating because just the echoes of every step bounce every way, and seeing out the windows into the vast void of space and the stars twinkling. Sometimes you see the odd garbage slowly floating by. You think eventually a robot will get to it, but then you see it again an hour later.
Is this terminal simply more rarely frequented, or is it essentially a ghost town?
I don't think it's quite a ghost town. It's just rare for people to stop in. It's sort of like that odd outpost out in sea where if people need a place to stop, it's there. And tends to be more of a word of mouth thing that people come across it.
You said you stopped to trade. What are you trading? Or what have you dropped off?
I have brought in some crystallized minerals that I came across on one of the meteorites that were jettisoning just past the city ship Sage area. I thought they would make good materials for fuels that people could use, or even other energy sources, as they have just an innate spark encased within the crystal. Figured it'd be a good chunk of trading with that.
It is.
How has your trading been going?
In the terminal for the past few days, very slow because not a lot of people. Had one individual that came through from the IAR that picked up a good little box of the minerals. But that was really my only main trade, and they gave me some food and rations in return because that's what I needed most was food.
Is there a location on this terminal that you like to frequent a lot? Maybe like a little shop or a bar or just like a little quiet space?
Yeah, there's a bar called the Overlook, and it's just on one of the far outer sides, and it has a sort of deck that reaches out with that sort of bubbled glass dome around it. So you're especially late at night when you just stand there and the lights are low. It just feels like you're standing there amongst the vastness of space. You can see everything around until you turn around and see the bar with a bright neon of cyan and magenta flickering and a bit of that deep rave noise coming from within, even though there's only 5 people in there, but it's fine.
When you trade, do you tend to trade for profit or is it more of a bartering system where you trade an interesting item for another?
It tends to be more bartering. I'm not looking for a lot of material value. It's more of the experience of traveling and meeting people and exchanging. Sometimes I find things that just no one else has seen, and then they trade something that I've never seen. We get that cultural exchange of new experiences and stories as we do that trade.
What is your favorite item you've gotten in return so far?
This was a find that I got 10 years ago, and it sits proudly at my home. It is kind of a 5x5 statuette of a bright pink llama. I had no idea what a llama was before then, but it was just so beautiful and majestic that I had to trade for it.
What's its name?
His name is Humphrey.
I would die for Humphrey.
He's currently wearing a bright blue bow, which is very bright and contrasty against the pale pink.
Are there any regulars you trade with, or is it just new people all the time?
It tends to be new random people. I'm always drifting about through space, going to different locations, and it almost feels just because of how much space there is, I never really return to a place more than once.
The bar that you like to frequent, do you go today?
I think I do. It's been really quiet. There hasn't been anyone new that's come into dock. And I could really use some Cyclonian rum right now. So if I'm the only one in there, I'm going to ask them to turn the music down a little bit. It kind of rings out my ears, but I just sit in there, dark little corner of the bar. Again, lots of neon lights all over the place, and glass tabletops, and metal stools that sort of skid and creak on the flooring. And yeah, I have this bright sort of gradation of liquid from a almost toxic green coloration until it deepens into a bright reddish orange at the bottom. And there's a little drink umbrella. And it says, "Good vibes."
If somebody were to take a seat with you and ask you to play a round of cards, would you?
I'll say I don't know the game, but I definitely would play, and then I would actually know the game and hustle the individual.
And what do, well,
Go ahead.
what
Sorry.
does that look like?
Yeah. And do you usually win? Are you that good?
Yeah, I have it's a weird place of I come off as super goofy and just like really I have no idea what this is about, but I'm down to play. I'm good with games, and maybe we can make a bet out of this. Like very upbeat and jovial about it all, and then by the end I slam the cards down, take in the pot, like, well, thanks, mate.
And of course, invariably they would end up stuttering and like, okay.
I think the bartender, the regular, the guy who owns the bar, just gives you a look with a thumbs up.
And then I put extra tip down.
What do you win off of this person?
I think it's just like a mix of whatever, like if it's credit or whatever currency there is for the local galaxy, as well as like they probably had a like something in their pocket, so any random coin, because it's sometimes really cool to see coin from different galaxies or currencies from different galaxies. Yeah. Just like gathering up whatever they have in their pockets, because it's just interesting stuff. I'm a little bit of a hoarder of random things that belong to people, because it tells more of a story of those people than, you know, a random expensive item. Maybe I took the library card. I'll never go to that library, but I took it.
I mean, at least you didn't take their drink voucher that you have to like collect all 9 of them again.
Yeah, no. We got an honor system. Someone has already gotten that far on their vouchers. They deserve that free drink.
What's the I'm having a brain fart. I'm sorry. Sorry, go ahead.
And the brain cell flies out the window.
It's gone. Yeet.
Do the robots ever come and get that piece of floating garbage? How many times does it pass the window while you're watching?
Yeah, I've counted about 17 times in 3 hours, and then eventually I see this tiny, boxy like robot that's sort of like the one from Wall-E, like Wall-E, but it's just like the square head box of it, and he just flies out, catches it, and scoops it. Looks like it's hugging the piece of garbage as it continues to scoot on, and then I count that robot at least 5 times before it finally disappears.
That's what my cat looks like when it hugs me.
How long do you stay at the bar?
Slow and quiet. I like to get one more trade-off before I leave, but I think another couple hours, and then once the universal clock chime happens and the bartender's like, okay, you gotta go, essentially to close, I'll go out into the halls and listen to my feet echo in the emptiness of it all until I return to my ship to sleep.
So, what do you leave behind and what do you take with you? It doesn't have to be what you talked about and answered questions for.
Yeah. I think I leave behind one of the crystals that I brought with me for trade. And I just leave that with the bar that I frequented a lot during my stay here. And left it with a little card explaining what it was all about if they didn't know what it was. Maybe they can make use of it in some way. Who knows? They'll get creative on their own time. And then I take... I think I find just it was randomly off in like a crevice in one of the offshoot alleyways of the terminal. I pick it up and I find it's a folded up map. And I don't recognize the system that it's of. But it is a faded, almost like a faded blueprint kind of paper. And there's sketches that someone wrote on it, little writings. It looks like it was well used and well worn. And I just think it's kind of neat. So I pocket it and move on.
Where are you headed for your 1 square move?
Let's see.
You have a lot of options.
I do. Oh my goodness. And I'm getting kind of sick of this Terminals bar, but someone told me about Rosie's Diner. Maybe I can head off there.
Okay. And that brings us to Akemi. Where are you?
I'm on Tyrion.
Which is one of a handful of moons orbiting a frozen planet.
So I came here because I was told I had a package to pick up. But it seems I may have gotten the address wrong because it doesn't seem like there's much out here. However, I have heard that if I go to the actual planet, there's these avians that live there that like to race. I might go watch that, but I have to get down to the planet first.
What was your reaction when you first got here and realized you were probably lost?
Look around. Check my coordinates. Look around again. Did I get the numbers wrong? Is that supposed to be a 2, not a 5?
Is it a negative instead of a positive?
Big difference. Did you put in the Z coordinates? That's
Yeah,
important.
did I put the X and the Z and the Z and the Y?
What were you supposed to pick up?
I think I was supposed to pick up a birthday cake.
For whom?
Well, I don't have I have a name, but I don't know who that is. It's just, I think it's like a little 4-year-old girl. It says, "Happy birthday, Susie" on it. I'm supposed to pick up this birthday cake. I don't think this is where I'm gonna find a birthday cake.
Are you
Do
a...
they-
Sorry, go ahead.
Do the avians make good cakes?
I don't think so. But I think they'd be cute.
Are you like are you space UPS essentially? Are you an independent contractor doing a favor for a friend?
A bit of both. It kind of like a space TaskRabbit independent contractor, but I deliver things and pick up things.
Oh, you're a space Instacart.
Oh my god.
How do you normally handle this kind of thing where you have been told to go somewhere and pick something up, but something goes wrong? How do you normally handle this?
Try to make the best out of it. If I can't get a birthday cake, maybe I can get a stuffed toy, or maybe another local delicacy or something that someone might enjoy. It may not be the thing they originally thought they were getting, but at least they're still getting a thing. Like, I don't want to, show up to someone's at the delivery point and then they're not getting anything.
What was the weirdest thing you ever had to deliver?
A live cephalopod.
Was it?
It kept trying to crawl all over my instruments, crawl out of its habitat inside the. I was like, no, you stay inside the water. So stop trying to control the ship. That's not gonna work. I kept having to try hurting it and like getting it to stay, and it kept crawling out and trying to do things. Those things are smart.
Do you go surface side on the icy planet?
I think I do.
Are you bundled for it? Because it is frozen. Did you remember your jacket?
Yes, but it's not a heavy jacket for like super cold. It's a mid-weight hoodie type level of jacket. So it's still very cold. But at least I have, boots that have real traction, and those crunch through the snow. Like, that part is good. The amount of warmth I brought, slightly insufficient, but I make do with also, like, let's throw on this scarf, and, you know what, I have 3 layers of shirts, let's put them all on. This'll work, I think.
So, as you are descending to the planet, what is your plan for avoiding collision with any of these avian races? Races meaning like the Neum, not the species.
Yeah. Flying very carefully and just trying to stay where, okay, as long as I can see the things in the sky, that's where I'm gonna go. Clearer the better, and I think I should be able to avoid hitting anything.
What if you catch one of their eyes as you're descending? Just
all right, let's race.
You're gonna join the race?
Not in the sense of joining the actual like circuits, but just like, all right, we're trying to get down to this spot. Let's go.
So a little bit of friendly competition.
Might as well.
Are you confident you would win?
Maybe. I mean, the ship looks fast. It looks all sleek and shiny. It's just need to, do some percussive maintenance every so often to get it to cooperate.
Percussive, as in like hitting it?
Yes. Very large wrench kind of thing, and bang.
what's the last thing that you remember that percussive maintenance couldn't fix?
Got a bit of like fairly small space dust rock thing hit the outer windshield level type thing, and that you can't fix by hitting it. It just makes things absolutely worse.
The avian entity creature that you're racing, how do they take potentially losing to you?
I mean, even though these are fairly large avians, spaceship is still bigger. So once they like get into a range where they're like, oh, this ship is a lot bigger than me, they're like, yeah, it's cool. Because again, even though it's not necessarily a spaceship designed for fighting, it is still a spaceship compared to a bird.
Do these avians live up to your expectations of them? Are they everything that you thought that you would meet when you were coming down?
They're far more colorful than I thought they'd be. I only heard stories that they existed and thought, one, they were smaller and that it was, like going to a horse race and watching these things race. But instead, it's a much bigger thing. The birds themselves are larger, and they do tricks on their courses, and somehow they know that there's like it's a course to actually go through. Like it's not just an oval; it's like an actual racetrack, with curves and turns and.
But in 3D.
Yeah, but in 3D, and like there's probably even some like shortcuts of like tunnels and things that you can't see.
Oh my god, it's Mario Kart.
So it sounds like these avians might be sentient. Do you try to communicate?
Not while they're racing.
Oh yeah, of course, of course.
You never interrupt a bird's race. Unless you want to join the race.
No, that seems like a terrible idea.
But when everyone lands, do you try to communicate?
Yes.
With whom?
And how's it go?
Well, since I don't speak bird, that's not going to work. But I remember that many types of birds, specifically corvids, like shiny objects. So I think I'll like go through the ship and find things that are, like piles of, here's some extra screws, or things that I'm not necessarily too worried about losing, but that tend to be shiny, and then kind of leaving them out and seeing if any of them are interested in partaking of these objects.
Do they give you anything in return? Do they accept your offering, and do they give you anything in return?
A number of them just ignore it. One or two of the more curious ones do come up and kind of, look side to side, just try to get a better view of exactly what some of these things are. And I think one of them takes a sheet of essentially like sheet metal, not very large, but it's kind of a small piece of sheet metal that was used for patching extra holes occasionally on the ship that happen when, space happens. And it just kind of picks it up with its beak, and starts flapping it around, so it's not making this kind of like thundery noise.
The warble sound.
Does it make the warble sound?
Yeah. And this one avian is like, this is fun. I like this. I will accept this. Does it leave anything? I think it just leaves with this joy of making noise and having a shiny thing.
Do you end up finding a gift for that Susie?
I think so. I think I find one of the like really pretty feathers that gets left after the other avians kind of walk off. And And I think this one's like a gradient of like purple to orange. Yeah, I thought these birds were much more black and blue and kind of plain colored, but no, they're multicolored. And especially once you look at the feathers in like light, you can just see that iridescent sheen change across the surface of that feather.
Is your delivery on time? Do you have to go and deliver it personally, or do you have a matter transport system?
I tried to deliver things personally. I mean, it was ordered like 2.5 months ago, so
Is it on
and I
time?
was told that there should be a cake at this place at this time to pick up. And then I have time to get to the next place. And so I think, yes, I actually do make it on time for this delivery.
It's the star rating that you get.
Does Susie love her feather?
Susie loves the feather, but I only get a 4.5 star rating on this delivery.
Because
Because it was not a cake that...
So, what do you leave behind and what do you take with you?
Let's see, what do I leave? I leave behind more things that the birds can use. So, like, oh, I have this sweater that has been torn to shreds, or has a large hole in it. The birds can then therefore use it for making a nest. So I'll leave some stuff like that, and make it clear that I'm not doing this to litter. I'm letting it be useful.
It's recycling.
I don't know if the birds understand me, but I'm hoping they'll get the idea that they have this available. And what do I take with me? The memory of the joy of getting to see the birds and, see what they do with and how colorful, and like just experiencing the bird races that I would have never been privy to had I not been here in the first place.
If you didn't get lost.
Mistakes are just happy accidents.
I still don't know where that cake is.
Someone has a free cake.
It was clearly eaten already.
It was a lie.
So where are you going?
I think I'm going to head to the Aurelian.
Okay. So, when two people meet up at a location, it is technically my turn. We can decide to have a scene together, but I think I'm going to do mine solo if that's okay.
That's cool.
Okay. So the Aurelian is a small cargo ship broken and forgotten. So my ship is very large. It is big, bulky, it is chunky, and there's just like a bunch of multicolored art and graffiti on it. I just let whoever wants to, as long as it's not like offensive, just make my ship art. Some people call it gaudy, but I think it's pretty. So I have pulled up and docked next to the Aurelian with we are attached. There is the depressurization, and I want to hop in. I'm here to search. I'm here to explore.
Did you start this graffiti on your quote unquote graffiti on your ship? Did you start it? Do you have any of your own art on it?
I don't think I started it. I think I bought it with some graffiti on it, but it was just like Fart was here. But I have added some of my own to it. It's just I'm not an artist. So it's just scribbles and color.
So coming up to the Aurelian, what are you hoping to find while you're docked?
Ghosts.
Was there a particular story that led you to this?
The story I've heard about the Aurelian is that this ship was just suddenly all the crew went missing. Period. There's no sign of anyone. Like,
Do you have a theory on what happened? Or a favored conspiracy theory that someone else has come up with?
I think that the ship passed through some kind of wormhole. And they either got teleported somewhere else, or they maybe like rapidly aged and died, and everything decomposed, and it's just like poof. That's what I'm hoping.
What have you found on the ship so far?
A lot of dust. Some broken metal. It's not as clean as I was hoping. It looks like I'm not the first person that's been here. It looks like it's already been picked over. So there's a lot of like missing pieces and parts, hence why it's not really working. I'm actually kind of surprised life support systems are still on, honestly, and that I can still breathe.
How long has this... Sorry, go ahead.
No, go.
How long has this thing been sitting here? Is it kind of like as long as anyone can remember, or is it more recent memory?
It's one of like those new ghost stories. So I've definitely heard about it when I was like younger, like a decade or two ago. But it's not so old. Like it's not like it's not older than my mom.
What kind of tools do you have to help you on this ghost hunting adventure?
So I was told that this shiny rock would glow in the presence of ghosts. It's like shiny and yellow, not shiny and yellow, like it's like opally colored, and it'll like start sparkling if there's extraterrestrial ghost presence around. I got it from a nice little lady over on the Cyclamen terminal. I paid a lot of money for this rock.
Has it ever sparkled before?
Yes.
When?
When I was home on planet side under the sun near the old well.
What got you into ghost hunting?
There are a lot of old ghost stories back home. And, it's a very, very, very old planet. And I don't know. I just like the idea of there being like a second existence after this one. And I want to know what it's like.
First ghost hunting expedition go?
The first ghost hunting expedition went okay. It was very eerie. It was some old like destroyed planet, a lot of cracks in it. The vibe was there, but the ghost presence was not. Like, I think they used to be there, but they moved on. I think it was a place called Viridian.
What are you hoping to get out of an interaction with these ghosts?
Proof, first of all. People tell me that ghosts don't exist, but with a whole universe out there, I kind of think that it's unrealistic to not think that there is something greater or other out there. Like, aliens exist. Come on, why can't... And, like, maybe they're not ghosts, but maybe something like ghosts. Who says that there isn't a alien species out there that once their mortal physical body is gone, their spirit doesn't stick around?
Bodies of energy inhabiting flesh bodies until not needed anymore.
Yeah, exactly. A person's will is very strong. Like, why can't it stay around?
Do you have a plan to attract ghosts, or are you just wandering?
My grandmother taught me a song that was very calming, and though I don't think it's actually going to attract ghosts, it is something that keeps me calm and focused while I do my work. So if I didn't do this, I don't think I would have the attention span to, pay attention and try to find something and look for the clues I need. So, like, of seeing things that are moving that shouldn't be moving, that are not from me, or lights flickering that aren't just electrical pulses.
Is there an interaction that you've always wanted since your first expedition to happen?
Yes. I've always wanted to, like, feel that chill, that overwhelming presence of, like, electricity, that you're not alone and that something else is with you. So that chill, like if something, like a cold wind.
Is there one that you hope to never have happen to you?
Ooh. Something hostile. The unfiltered, raw, emotional energy of a hostile spirit could be very scary. You can imagine if one took over this ship. Maybe that's what happened.
Here you
Have you
drop.
found any?
Go ahead.
Have you found any clues as to what happened on this ship?
When I am looking in the engine room, I do see some faulty pipes and wiring and exposed panels that have been, like, removed. There is charred metal as well as a boot. Just kind of looked like that was haphazardly thrown across the room.
Human boot or something else?
Human-ish. It is very large, much larger than your standard, like, human size, but, like, it's still, like, human foot shaped. Maybe like the size of, like, double the size of what an average shoe would be.
And do you find any signs of the kind of people that once inhabited the ship?
There are a couple rooms which have been picked over, so they're messy, but it looks like there were a couple bedrooms. There was a library. A lot of the books are strewn across the ground. So it was a group of people. there's different interests in each room. Like one of them has a lot of the glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling, while another one has a bunch of posters of some kind of aquatic creatures under the water. I only recognize an octopus. Everything else is some eldritch deep water horror. But a couple different types of people here.
Does this ship have a black box?
Not that I can find.
How did you find the ship in the first place?
Ooh. It is a kind of like open secret that this ship exists, but it is kind of just floating throughout space. So if you want to go find it, you kind of have to do a little digging first on like who saw it last, and then doing some triangulation. Like there is a person who like put a oh god, what are they called?
Like a beacon?
A beacon on here, who has the coordinates and then can give them to you. Not for cheap, because there's a lot of people who like to step foot here and obviously make a mess.
Is there any part of the ship that people avoid?
When I start looking around the ship, there is one back closet that doesn't look like it has been touched. I do look inside it, and it looks like it's just like a cleaning closet, like a janitor's closet. So like there is an old mop, there's a mop in there, there's a broom, some cleaning supplies, you know, chrome sparkler, you wash it, you clean it and everything. But it doesn't look like anything has been moved or touched, and oddly enough, it's not dusty in here. Which is
your opal sparkling?
When I go to check it, I think it is. And I'll excitedly like stand there and just hope really hard. Is someone there? Is someone there? I don't think I get an answer though. I think that's a good spot to end.
Yeah.
What I take with me. Actually, I think I'm going to do what I leave behind first. I think I'm going to leave behind my little opal in the closet, where it can just like sparkle and be shiny. And what I take with me is going to be there's just like a rag in that ocean room, which looks like it used to be part of a blanket. And there's just like half of a sea star on it, and it's just like old soft fabric, and I think I'm going to take that with me.
And where are you going?
That is a good question. What are my options? Okay.
As a small flickering light approaches the ship.
Oh, that's right. My big chunky ship, I think, is gonna go to, oh god, where do this is so hard.
Yeah, you got choices. You got choices.
I think Carnelian's too far, but I think I'm gonna go to space. I think I'm gonna go amongst the stars here. Okay.
Look at all those stars.
That brings us back to Jein.
Hello. So I think the scene just happens among the stars, right?
Yeah. You don't leave anything behind, but it's just another scene as normal.
I think a lot of what it's going to be is me in my dinky little ship, occasionally, much like others in this system, tend to do some percussive maintenance on it when it starts to sputter or do some strange things, or when the warp engine makes some funny noises. I just, and a lot of it is me drifting past planets, drifting past moons, looking for any indication of something interesting that I might want to stop at.
Why don't you stop at any of these places that you pass?
So, some of them have existing signal beacons that I recognize the signature of, indicating that there is nothing new to be found here. Others indicate a hostile atmosphere, that as much as I would love to go and explore, I have to be alive to enjoy my findings. And there's one that I passed, seems to be a dead planet, that just has a funny feeling. And there's something in my gut that says, you can look, but don't touch. And I do circle that one a few times. I do take my sweet time looking and capturing photographs from a distance. And it might be my imagination, it might not. But I could swear I saw something shift.
What kind of planet does it look like from a distance?
It appears to be mostly blue. A water planet. And again, it's hard to tell because there do appear to be tides and waves on this planet. There does appear to be an atmosphere on this planet. But when I look at it, it's almost like I feel like something is looking back.
Reminder that space and the ocean are terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And I make the sensible decision to not attempt to land. There are occasional bits of land that I can see, like small bodies of terrestrial land. But I just can't shake the feeling that if I land, I might not take off again.
Have you ever had that sort of experience before, and that's what helps you know to trust that instinct?
I have had a couple of close calls with hostile plant life, where I have landed, and as I approached the ground, I would see these vines snaking up and beginning to wrap around my ship. The ship actually still bears a couple of scars from that. A couple of the rocket fins are a little bit bent out of shape. I think it gives the ship character. What it actually does is make it mildly unreliable. I have not encountered anything aquatic yet, but those suckers have suckers, probably. And they will be much more difficult to get away from than a couple of vines if those suckers were to get their suckers on my ship.
This hostile planet that your gut just says not to go on there. Do you make a note of this planet for other travelers to avoid?
At first, I don't. At first, I think, you know what? People are good at listening to their gut instincts, and people know the ocean is terrifying. And as I go to leave, I stop, I turn, and I do leave a small signal that just says, beware, question mark.
Do you think people will listen to your signal?
Most of me hopes they do. There's one tiny little part of me that kind of hopes someone doesn't. Not because I want them to get pulled into the scary ocean depths, but because I do want to know what's down there. I feel a little bit like a coward for not having the guts to go down and find out myself. But selfishly, I do want someone to find out what's down there. I'm just very curious about this mysterious water orb and what is down there that has vibes so powerful that when I look at this planet, I can feel it looking back.
It's terrifying.
How do you log this for yourself?
Ooh. I think I log it with the coordinates, which is not something I often do. I specify the coordinates of where this planet is. And instead of a clipped to the point, this is where I am, this is what I saw, that my normal logs are, it is more of a stream of consciousness, stream of thought log that will, if I were to one day come back to this and decide I want to do this again, I will understand and remember the headspace that I was in after looking at it for a long time.
Do you think you'll come back in the future?
Yes.
To land?
I have a lot of work to do on my ship before I can do that, make it amphibious. But that may be a new goal of mine, is to find a way to strengthen my ship's hull, get those fins bent back into shape, and see about devising some sort of strategy to find out what is under those deep, dark, rippling waves.
Will you go alone?
If I can find somebody else that has the interest in finding out what is down there, I will bring them, but I have to trust them absolutely first. I will not bring some rando down there who is going to sacrifice me to the cephalogods. But it, again, selfishly, it would be nice to have somebody else to... There is strength in numbers, even if there isn't. And I ponder that as I fly off and fuck off to wherever I go next.
Yeah, where are you going next?
I think... I'll go to Carnelian.
Okay. So we'll do Natalie, and then we'll go to a break. Natalie, you are... Where are you?
I'm at Rosie's Diner.
Ah, the diner. So Rosie's Diner is an automated dive serving standard fare.
So my old beaten clunker of a ship comes in, and I'm ready to... I've heard rumors that some of the food here, they do get their hands on some, like, actual food and not, like, that instant made from a machine food sometimes. So I make my dock and come in, and yeah, there's that, that smell of what people think is, like, Earth era 1950s diner. But there's still, like, not just sense of pancakes and pies and coffees, which are absolutely delicious, but other sense of, like, for whatever reason, they decide pizza pie and shawarma too. And I go in, and is that classic. There's the checkerboard pattern of white and red, the bright teal, faux leather, like, glittery seating covering on all the chairs. The bright red countertops and tabletops with that shiny chrome, and yet it's still, like, there's cracks in it. It's been very well weathered. No one's really replacing anything. It's just the robots come around, wipe it all down, and then you're good to go. So I just have my seat at the sort of front counter, looking over what I think might be pies. Some of them look like a pie. Others look like a weird mound of plant matter. Maybe an alien's interpretation of a pie when they heard what a pie was.
How is this place automated? Oh,
Go.
I was just gonna ask, how is this place automated? Is it like out of a vending machine, or you mentioned robots? Is it all robots, or what?
There is one robot that is stationary at a classic-looking cashier station. Just very spindly looking, but they have the random outfit, though it is very, like, tattered and worn and needs replacing badly, but that old outfit of a waitress just on this robot, it is too big for it, so it's sort of, like, angled at different ways. Again, just someone's idea or approximation of what a 1950s Earth diner is. And they have just sort of pre-recordings on it, so you just sort of tap on the front screen of the cashier station to be like, I want coffee, 2 sugar, 2 cream, hot. And then you wait for a few seconds, and eventually on the red counter, there's a bright blue sort of circular light that beams on, and then the mug with some coffee shows up, and coffee starts filling it up from the inside.
Is this more of a tourist trap or a hidden gem?
I think with how much replacement and repair the place needs, it's a bit of a hidden gem. Not quite clean enough for the common tourists, but those who know this is the spot to go. I think that's when I learned about it from the terminal, is if you want a good spot, go to Rosie's Diner, and this is where it is.
Do you trust the food? Do you trust the food?
Ooh, I look at it and I feel like I'm going to lose my gallbladder, but you know what? That weird organic alien pie also has deeply piqued my curiosity, because I like trying foods that make no sense to me.
What is the special of the day? Is it the plant matter?
Yeah, it is. They label it on the little flashing menu. It's labeled as grumbleberry pie, whatever that means, with the soup of the day, which is a void nut squash. Very interesting flavor, because there is no flavor. It's like void flavor. Is that a flavor?
I don't like how black is a color.
Yeah. So I have my void soup, which is black with little dots of white, and then a slice of organic pie, which again isn't actually looking like a slice of pie. There's no real crust. It's like there's a bottom of a crust, but it's not that dry pastry. It is a weird gelatinous layer of it.
Do you like your food?
I'm trying to figure out which one to try first to see what would drown out the flavor of the other or might be a better experience than the other. So I tried the pie first, and on first bite, it is very much that jello-y slime ooze, and then there's weird crunchy bits of crust in it. Maybe they thought the crust was supposed to go on the inside. And there is flavors of lemongrass, of miso, of chickpea. Oh, and then there's
Savory
a little
pie.
yeah, it's on that more savoriness, and there's just a little bit. I think it's like a kind of turmeric, just a little bit in there. I was like, sensation-wise, in terms of texture, throws me for a loop, and I don't like that. But the flavor wasn't too bad, so I go to the soup. And I don't smell anything. I don't get any whiff of any potential flavor, so I just goop it up. And it's almost like a cough syrupy velocity to it. It just sort of hangs there, and I tip my spoon over, and then it's just trying to fall out like molasses. And then I pray to God it tastes like molasses as I try that. And I just feel my entire mouth go numb. And I don't realize that as I chew, like, essentially chew and try to swallow, it just coated my mouth and teeth in black.
Does it have a temperature?
It is cold.
Is there anyone else at the diner that are not robots that work there?
I think there is one sort of crotchety lady, has that sort of smoker's voice to her. She has more of that outfit of being more like a mechanic for the place, so just there to sort of make sure everything's running. Has that very like, no worries, sweetheart, we got you. You picked a good special. It's going to fill you up right there, and then I'll go out, and sort of is saying a lot of words, but it's just not registering to me as I'm now like in this weird sensation space of what did I just eat?
Is she the owner, or does this place have a different owner, or is it just kind of a big question mark?
Yeah, as the spoon is sort of stuck in my mouth, I look at her name tag, and I do see it. It does say Rosie on her name tag, not like a diner title, but as her actual like name on the section. Like, all right, must be Rosie or descendant of Rosie. I didn't get to ask how long the diner has been here. Maybe it's a generational thing. Maybe everyone here is called Rosie.
Who do you think came up with the recipes?
Oh. It has to be, I think it has to be someone who just thought the idea of a diner was fun and didn't bother doing any research and just researched everything else that wasn't diner-like, thinking maybe they can spruce it up a bit. So I imagine it might be someone probably way off past Tyrion and some of the galaxy out there, because this is interesting food.
Do you think it's worth the hype?
I mean, everyone said this was a bit of a hidden gem, and yeah, it's definitely an experience. I should have gone for what I hope is a regular looking apple pie. The coffee's good though, until you numb your mouth with void soup.
Are there more than one? Like, is this a part of a franchise, or is this like the only one that we know of.
I think I do find like a pamphlet to see if I can find any more information on what the hell this place is and if there's anything more to it. I think they have one other sister location that is known, and it is somewhere past the city ship sage. I have a hard time with those three words together. Somewhere past that galaxy. But that's all I can see on the little pamphlet card.
Would you try the other sister diner?
I think if it gets a little more traffic, it may bring in other foods and recipes. So yeah, it could be another diner to try. See if it's the same or if it's different.
Do you get dessert?
Yeah, because that weird organic pie was very veggie and savory flavored. I guess I gotta try that. What I hope is apple pie. So yeah, I definitely get that dessert. And it has the crust that I'm used to. It has the center of it that I'm used to for an apple pie. I asked for it heated up. Gotta have it heated up. And take a bite. My mouth is numb from the void soup.
So you can't even tell if it's apple pie.
I can't even tell.
Do you take it
So
to
I'll-
go?
Yeah, after the first bite, I'm like, okay, I gotta take this to try later.
But did you get the pie with ice cream or a slice of cheese melted on it?
Oh, I'm very much an ice cream person.
Yeah, John, that is a thing. I've never had it, but I've heard it's a thing.
I'm sorry, what?
Slice of cheese, like cheddar cheese on an apple pie. It's delicious.
So
Are
you
you
know
people
cheese
okay?
board? You know how cheese boards are like paired with fruit and stuff? It's like that concept.
I think that's also wild and ridiculous. But yes, I'm aware of the concept.
I now want to try it.
Thanks, I hate it.
Can't hate it till you try it. But yeah, I usually do ice cream, especially if I'm having it as a dessert. But I don't have an ice box on my ship, so maybe I'll just take a slice of cheese. Maybe trade off for some extra block of cheese.
Does Rosie's deliver? Is Rosie's part of the Space Instacart network?
I was gonna say they don't have like their own Rosie's delivery, but they definitely have a network they tap into to send out their orders.
Space Dash.
Do they do birthday cakes?
Yeah, I see in their little like it is like one of those fridge display things that would have cakes, but it's just empty. So on the front of the glass, it just has written like the different styles of cakes you can order. There's cheesecake, there's ice cream cake, and then there's I don't know the word. It's an alien word, but when I ask about it from the cashier robot, it just lists off some ingredients, which is avorium, contact egg, starlet milk, and it goes into other different ingredients. I'm like, okay. Be an interesting cake to see.
As you're checking out, what do you take with you and what do you leave behind?
Well, food and recipes and such is some of the best things to trade, because when you have copies of the recipe, you share it and you're able to share and experience each other in faraway cultures and people together that way. So I just ask for a recipe and I write down one from my own, and if they happen to sell it at the diner, make sure they name it after me.
And where do you go?
Looks like might be time to just drift amongst the stars a little bit, sort of heading towards that mining base.
Perfect. And we will be back soon, everybody. We are going to go take a break. So please stand up, stretch, hydrate, pet your pets, and we will be back soon. Bye. Hello, everybody. We are back from break. Before we get back into the amazing game of Moonsailors, which a reminder is a GM-less, diceless question answer game by Anna Maria de Jein. Put exclamation point moon in chat if you want to go support the creator. But this is a charity game, and we are raising money for the Native American Rights Fund. So if you would like to support a good cause, I have just put the Tiltify link in chat. We last left off with Akemi at your next location, which I think you are the blue one. You're at the Aurelian.
I am. The Aurelian is the name of a ship that many people know about, but no one knows what happened. And as has been said, it's kind of a open secret that it exists and it's out there. I'm not here for any delivery or pickup this time. I'm here because I don't want to forget. This may not have been my crew. This is, to my knowledge, it's been out here longer than I've been alive. But you know, the people who were on the ship were people. And I want to make sure that their story gets remembered as they continue to drift in space.
Do you have a personal connection to any of the crew that were on the ship?
Not that I know of exactly, but like, I think my grandmother had a story of someone that she knew might have been on the ship. Again, it's been out here for so long that it could be her grandmother's grandmother or something like that. So exactly when the crew went missing and what happened, no one's exactly sure. So maybe that's why I'm looking.
How do you remember them and basically pay your respects when you get here?
I take some time to go around the ship. You know, I see what has been, how it's been left. I see all the dust that's been piled up over the years. I am not as well attuned, and I think actually I will go off, and if it's not on necessarily from their ship, their supply closet, I think I will spend time to clean the ship a bit. Like, if I find some boxes that are, have been gone through, and the cardboard itself is, disintegrating, you know, I'm a delivery ship. I have boxes in my ship. Because occasionally you need to replace the box that you have. So, I'll take some time and put things away and put them in boxes, and take some time and, clear off some of the dust off shelves. I don't know how much of a dent I'll make in the, trying to sweep the floors, because this dust is thick. But the least I can do is clean it up and make it feel more like it was their home instead of a place that people have gone through.
Is there any place on the ship that you give a little extra TLC to in cleaning.
The rooms that it felt like someone, this was their bedroom. Like this was their space. Where you can see that there's someone lived here and had a personality and liked things. Those are the places I'm like, I think especially if I find maybe an old picture frame, I will take a lot of time and effort, clean off that frame and put that, on a shelf. Because that was someone's life that should, get to be there still.
What kinds of stories are you constructing in your head about the people that once lived here?
I mean, I have the stories I know of, this is the story, the big story of it's an abandoned cargo ship that's been here for years. But, you can see, there's a family here, and they somehow made it work in this small space. In this other area, maybe someone was like, they lived a hard life because it wasn't easy being a cargo. You got to pick up heavy things, move them, hopefully sell it for profit, and you spend a lot of time away from those you love. But it's finding little things like one person had a tiny carved wooden statue. I think it was a duck. Might have been a horse. It's so old and all the details are hard to find, look and see at this point. So I'm not really sure. But, I think someone made that. Possibly to pass the time between the various points. Because if I remember my history correctly, this was back when space travel took a lot longer than it does now.
What do you think happened to the people on this ship?
I think they may have gotten marooned. I think that somehow the engines may have given out and they got stuck adrift, possibly without communications working as well. But to not find any people here, I should go look at and see if any of the escape pods are still in. Maybe they've made it off. Means they still won't be, floating in space, but
Are there any empty bays?
there were a total of 12 escape pods. I think 3 of them are empty.
How many people does an escape pod hold?
If it's cramped, you can get about 5 or 6. I mean, I don't think this was a particularly large crew, but it also doesn't seem like everyone made it out. Yet, again, there's no signs of the actual remains of anyone, other than, well, I did go find a giant boot in the engine area, but
Have you come across anything that sort of touches on your own memories that makes you feel the sentimental part about this ship?
Just the stories that I heard about it from my grandmother knowing that it's this almost weird to say, but permanent fixture in outer space, and that it might have been one of my, great great grandparents that was part of this crew, but I don't seem to find anything that, there's nothing with my last name out there in any of the logs.
What do you do about that one supply closet that has a very faint glow coming from under it?
I think I'll investigate it, because being that the rest of the ship is kind of dark, it's not a it's an unusual thing to find something, especially in a supply closet, that still has a light working and glowing. I don't see anything in it other than, well, cleaning supplies and a shiny orb rock thing. But there doesn't seem to be anyone there.
What are your hopes for the future of this cargo ship as it continues to float throughout space?
I hope that it won't get forgotten. It's so easy to see it as this was just a cargo ship, and now it's a kind of a wrecked cargo ship that is just floating out there. But I hope that people remember that there were people on this. They were part of the crew. They made up why the ship was there. And I hope people remember that.
How are you going to preserve its memory?
Partially by making sure I came to see it. Otherwise, if you don't go see a thing, it's a lot easier for things to get forgotten if you don't have records and proof that it was there. It becomes more of a urban legend of, hey, you heard about the Aurelian? It's a cargo ship that, the crew just vanished from. Instead of it being an actual cargo ship where people lived their lives on.
This might be a good spot to continue on if you're okay with it.
Absolutely.
So what do you take with you and what do you leave behind?
I take with me pictures of the ship, both before I started cleaning it, after I cleaned it, and especially if I can find a crew log. I want to try it might need a lot of restoration work, but I would love to make a copy of a crew log, just so that the names don't get forgotten. Again, the data might be so corrupted that it might not work at all, but it seems worth trying to make a copy. And what do I leave behind? One of my deliveries had some flowers. They weren't organic flowers, but they were like made of almost a holographic light. And it didn't have a recipient that was there to deliver, so it just ended on my ship. So I'm going to leave one of the holographic flowers and a note, probably scratched on more sheet metal to remember those who were here. Don't let them be forgotten.
Where do you go next?
Let's go. System Satellite 415.
Perfect. Okay. My turn. I am in space, driving my big, graffitied, full of art ship. Is just a big chunky boy with a very large, wide front window in the cockpit. I have my ship on autopilot right now. I'm just kind of on cruise control and just letting it drift and go, just kind of sailing really quickly across the stars. My ship in general is kind of crowded. There are a lot of books, piles of books on the ground of a bunch of different genres. There are some plants, not a lot of them, just a couple, because I have a hard time keeping them alive, just to, brighten up the place. And several wind chimes that are hanging from the ceiling or from my dashboard, which occasionally when I hit a little bit of bump of turbulence from solar winds, they just all chime very prettily. And if it is really quiet, I'll poke one of them with my tail just to get some noise in the ship. And right now, while I'm on autopilot, I have one of those like lap desks, and I'm just coloring because I'm bored to pass the time.
What are you coloring?
It's one of those those geometric coloring books. So they're just like, it's like a bunch of shapes and like repeating patterns and stuff.
Like mandalas?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Are you the kind of person that, at some point you might throw on an equivalent of like a podcast or something as you're just coloring or chilling out in your space?
Maybe not a podcast. Occasionally I'll put on some just instrumental music, but I also do have a oh god, what are they called? I'm blanking on the term. I'm listening to the trucker radios.
Oh, like the thingy.
Yeah,
That.
So I'm like listening to other transmissions from like cargo ships that are sailing in the same system.
Anything interesting?
There's apparently some space pirates in the area. So I'm going to be definitely keeping an eye out for them, because I don't want, as cool as it would be to meet space pirates, I don't want my shit stolen.
Have you had to deal with pirates before?
Not firsthand. When I have been to the Cyclamen Terminal or Rosie's, I have met other folks who have encountered them. Mostly usually people who are truckers, couriers, and so on and forth, merchants, because obviously there are rich people need to get their shit across the solar system too. They've talked about them and I've got their stories secondhand. They're more about stealing and not necessarily hurting, thankfully. So they don't take all your food, but they will take all of your sellable materials.
Do you have anything on your ship that you are particularly worried about pirates picking up on?
There is... I don't know if it's actually valuable, but it's definitely sentimentally valuable. But one of my wind chimes is made out of this... I don't want to say radioactive, but it definitely gives off a very like tangible, calming vibe. And I have a feeling it's some kind of like really expensive alien tech. But I like it. It was a hand-me-down, and it's my favorite wind chime.
You pass anything interesting?
I think I pass a couple interesting things. The first one being a huge asteroids, group of asteroids. And I do see ships like drifting through them, like live ships, not just, stuff like the Aurelian that are abandoned. They're like people like flying around in them. I've never been in this direction before, so I'm not 100% sure what area of space this is. But living in an asteroid system sounds pretty cool. I also see a very, very bright purple star off in the distance. I'm going to write those coordinates.
You investigate it?
Not too close. I think I take some pictures similar to what Jen's character did earlier. But, because I don't want to get too close to a star. And I've certainly never seen a purple one before. But I think I'm gonna take down the coordinates, take a couple pretty pictures. But this is not a scientific spacecraft, so I don't have a lot of materials that'll like be useful for figuring out what this is. So I will just take a couple cool pictures. I will make note of it on my logs, and I think I am going to mentally call it in my head. The Turning Violet. Science is not for me, so as much as I want to know about it, my brain ain't gonna get there.
Is there anybody that you know that you would normally ask about this kind of stuff?
Ooh. My older sister's really smart. She's the type of person who will read science books for fun. So she would probably know what this is, or at least have an idea. And if she didn't have an idea, I'm sure she would know who to talk to. She's currently studying to be a researcher. I should probably write a letter home at some point, honestly. See how people are doing.
How is your relationship with your sister? Are you very close, even with all the time apart?
I am the type of person who likes to ask questions, and she's the type of person that likes to answer questions. So yes, we are very close. Unfortunately, with my drifting across space and just her studies, we haven't seen each other in a while. And when you're light years upon light years across galaxies, audio transmissions take a while to get sent out. That's just how it is, unfortunately. So someday she'll probably get the message I sent a couple years ago, depending on how long it takes. But someday I'm going to have to go home, say hi.
When was the last time you were home?
5 years, roughly.
Is there any graffiti on your ship from any of your family?
I think they've all signed it. When I first bought my ship, they were, along with myself, the first people to write like good luck messages and like well wishes. So like, for my younger brother, says, "Don't get lost." Well, more tame wishes of luck from my parents and my sisters and some friends.
Have you ever gotten lost?
Yes.
Have you had to? What happened, and did you admit it to your brother?
No, he doesn't need to know I get lost. But I lost control of my navigation. It went offline. So I did have to use the emergency signal system to hail a passing ship to, you know, help me back on my feet, so to speak. I ended up way, way, way on the edge of the system. But if he asks, no, I didn't.
It was on purpose. It was totally on purpose.
Totally on purpose. Didn't get lost at all.
Just navigationally challenged.
Sure. For that one time. I had to know what it was like, so I know I had to make sure I wasn't I had to know what it was like to make sure that it never happened again.
Sure.
But what did you find while you were lost?
Ooh. Besides some self-reflection, while I was waiting for rescue, I cleaned out the ship because it belonged to someone else. And I found some old correspondences. It looks like this might have once been a pirate ship. Just like some smuggling records and stuff like that. Stuff that was not legal.
Was there any contraband on the ship?
I could not find any. I'm very disappointed.
Does your ship have secret compartments?
I found one. It is big and bulky for a reason. But when I looked there, it had nothing but empty crates and dust. So whoever sold it to me, the person who sold it to me definitely cleaned it out. Which, fair.
Did you get this ship for suspiciously cheap?
Yes. I didn't realize that until later. But I did. But it's in good working order. It has been refurbished with much better paint job and decoration. So I don't think anyone is going to recognize the ship on what it used to be.
What's your plan for if you do drift uncomfortably close to pirates?
This ship is big and powerful for a reason. I'm going to book it. I'm going to run.
Is there any, like, what's the next ghost story that's now leading you on?
So I don't think it's a ghost story this time. I think this time is the thought of some possessed robots over on the Carnelian. And I want to go investigate that next. Which, if everyone's okay, I think I'm gonna go move myself over there. Mew.
Whoa.
Okay.
Well then. I think that brings it to me, question mark?
Yeah. Did you want to do a duel scene or did you want to have a solo scene?
So, I think if you're okay with it, let's do a duel scene.
Heck yeah. So this will
have a little bit of fun.
So this will count as both of ours, so I will not have a solo one this round.
Okay. So I arrive at Carnelian. And for a moment, I think there's a little bit of what essentially amounts to like air traffic control confusion, because I arrive at the same time as this real weird, like painted up, graffitied chonker of a ship. And for a moment, I think we both go for the same landing pad. I take a look at this other ship. Look at it, look at how chonky it is, look at my dinky little ship. And I broadcast a signal saying, go ahead, I'll find another. I'll find another.
You get a little response back. Yeah, sorry about that. I didn't see you. It's kind of hard. I got a lot of blind spots in this thing.
No worries. As we land on this false planet in a junk belt collecting extra solar scrap. I think it takes a little bit for me to find another spot, because this is essentially a planet made out of junk.
A scrapyard, basically.
A scrapyard. But eventually I do, and I haul myself out of the ship and to the Carnelian Cafe, because we love alliteration. And I don't know if there's a ton of traffic here, but I am kind of on the lookout for anybody. I'm so curious to know who pilots this mystery ship that's just so full of art.
Since it's like a false planet, I don't think this Carnelian has an atmosphere until you get into the cafe. So what you see coming out of this big chonker is basically like a little short, like 3 feet tall in a spacesuit, some kind of rodent-like creature with a long little tail. But eventually it'll come hopping, gravity is weird, over to the Carnelian Cafe, where obviously I want to go searching and like looking around, but like I'm hungry and there's a cafe here and that was not here last time I was here. So you just see this little rodent-like creature and you're like, it's waving at you.
Is it waving with its paws or with its tail?
Paws.
Okay. And you see kind of sitting at a table alone, kind of like tapping their fingers against the table. They seem to be waiting on a drink. A rather tall, from your perspective, actually even tall from a human's perspective. We're talking someone somewhere in the 7-foot range. Lanky humanoid, except for the 3rd and 4th arms. Creature that kind of a pale orange skin tone with, oh, I'm sorry, Kat. Do you have a problem with me describing my alien? With a single eye.
Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I did not mean to kick you out of the parking spot.
That's okay. Your ship needed the room.
I didn't bump you or anything, did I?
No. I have pretty good maneuverability on that thing, especially with the funky fins. We're good. That's not all the same style on your ship. How'd that happen?
Oh, you know how when you just go to like random cities and like places in the universe and you know, hooligans or just artists want to just do art? I just kind of let them.
No.
I highly recommend it just because you never know what you're going to get. And it's a great outlet. Also, art.
Do you have any spray paint?
I do. Did you want to add to it?
Yes.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Okay. let me buy you your drink, or because for almost hitting your ship. And we can go do that. And I'll hop up on the stool next to you and hold out my hand.
I lean down and offer you a finger.
And I'll give it a little shake. And I will say and then you just hear a little couple sounds of rodent squeaking as an introduction for a name.
And you hear, "It's good to meet you," and then a really bad attempt at imitating the rodent squeaking. And then and then you don't hear anything, but you feel something.
I like your name.
Thank you. I worked hard on it.
This does function like a regular scene, so if anyone does have questions, feel free to pop in.
What is your first impressions as you meet and talk of the other person?
I think my first initial thought is not height, because everyone's taller than me and like it's not new. But I don't think I've ever met anyone with multiple like arms before. And I think it's really cool. And I was really, when you went to go to put out your hand, I was wondering which one you were gonna extend to me.
The bottom left. And my first impression is probably, this tiny little thing is not what I expected to come out of that big ass chunk. I was like preparing for some hulking, like warrior, like kind of thing.
In leather.
Right. And instead there's this cute little rodent thing that speaks and squeaks. And I am oddly charmed. And I tell you, just a regular latte with a splash of voidberry and quark milk.
I think I'm gonna get, I haven't had it before, but if you look at that on the board, I point to the board, I think that is some kind of cheese drink.
Yes, that is actually, you know what? It's hard to explain. It's got this strange, you'll see when you try it. It's pretty much one bite will fill you up. So if it looks like a small portion, don't be alarmed.
Will do.
Where can I find your paint cans?
Yes. I'm gonna get my drink to go, and we can go get my cans, and then if you want, I can take a look at your ship. I know how to knock some stuff into place, but what are you doing here on the scrap heap?
Looking for giant grubs.
There's grubs here?
Not confirmed, but I'm deeply curious.
I'm looking for possessed robots.
Possessed robots.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially the scrap dealers.
No. The scrap dealers are very nice and very cool. I'm talking about like possessed robots, like they're going around and like making a wreck of things, not making things organized. I heard a rumor a couple months ago that there might be some rogue ones around here.
Well, I make a habit out of looking for new life. I think possessed robots might fall into that category. Do you maybe want to explore together? Strength in numbers?
Absolutely. You look like you have a lot of strength.
Excellent. High five. And then I think about it. Never mind. Low five.
And I'll bring you back to my ship, where I present to you a nice, it's not organized by color, but a box of spray cans in a variety of colors. The ones on the bottom row do glow in the dark.
I think about it, and then I find a place on your ship that seems to have the least graffiti, which I know is going to be hard to find. And each of the four arms grabs a can, and you hear the rattling of the four cans shaking. And it's almost like this cartoon montage where I go in and like this cartoon cloud forms around me with like the arms and the spray cans. And when I come out, there is a tiny little depiction of Carnelian with what looks like a. What color is your fur?
Ooh, I think it's like a soft muted yellow.
With a soft muted yellow blob, a nice tiny one, and a larger kind of orange blob. And then you can see that I have taken some artistic liberties and sprayed in some what look like robots with little glow in the dark dots for eyes. And then I hand all 4 paint cans back to you. A record of our time together.
I love it. Stay here. 1 second. You gave me a gift, I'm going to get you a gift. And I will go scurrying back into my ship. It's like a couple minutes, and then I come scurrying back out, and I hold up to you a small wind chime that where the chimes are like different glass shells.
I carefully take it from you, and I give it the tiniest, gentlest shake. That's so pretty.
Right?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then I make another attempt at your name.
I say...
Which has significantly deteriorated since the last time I heard it.
It's okay. It's okay. Vocal cords work weird between different species.
I had to learn to use mine. We normally communicate. Well, you can tell. So I'm still figuring them out. But you get kind of another feeling wash over you. And again, no words, but you can feel the sentiment. I'm young. I'm trying. Thank you for your patience.
It was nice to meet you.
It was nice to meet you too. Let's go look for some possessed robots.
And grubs.
And grubs.
I think that's a good place to leave it.
Yeah, that's perfect. I love it. That's adorable.
I think what I'm going to leave behind is on the side of the Carnelian Cafe. I am going to do a small little graffiti on the side of kind of like what you did on my ship, of just an orange-ish blob and a yellowish blob with BFF. And what I take with me is, I don't think we find any possessed robots.
I don't think we find any grubs either.
But I think I'm going to take this weird looking radio that someone threw away that I think I can fix up.
I am going to leave a piece of old scrap from my ship. And I'm going to place it beneath the little graffiti thing that you had. And what I think I'm going to take with me is the transmission details for your radio, so we can talk.
Perfect. Oh, and we got to choose where we're going.
Oh shit, yeah.
I'll let you go.
Here's
first.
a question.
Do we all go to System Satellite 415?
Oh my god, that'd be yes, we fucking do. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Sorry. Oh, sorry. It is Natalie's turn.
Yeah, I'm liking where this is going. Because I was thinking, after my run, I'm going there.
Do we just have a scene with all four of us at the end?
Yeah, beautiful. So I am among the stars. So my ship isn't big. It has signs of tons of welding, of various replaced panels. Nothing seems to really match, but it works. And in the front, under the sort of bubbled glass where the cockpit is, I sit there in a captain's chair with my helm in front. Humphrey's, my little llama statue's there with a little bit of putty that keeps him steady on the dash. Behind me, there's just some cabinets with plexiglass of all the little trinkets that I've collected. And it's all organized and labeled. Every label saying the date I got it and who I got it from. And it is all categorized. So there's one of organics and minerals. So there's bits of rock and gem, fossils and bone. Almost like a cabinet of curiosity or a mini museum of life. And then it goes on into more materialistic things. So little action figures from different planets, little plushies, and just things that maybe I don't understand, like this weird multi-sided metallic thing with odd, what I was told was numbers, and you're supposed to roll it. I don't quite understand it, but I was told it's a fun game. And then I have one little chair next to me that's supposed to be for co-pilot, but I have just this giant red plush dragon. It has like sort of a pot belly on it, long, thick tail,
What's his
the
name?
super tiny little wings. Their name is Cornelius. And he has like a cardboard crown just on the one side, kiltered. He just sit there with like goggles over his head, but his eyes are very visibly on the side, so the goggles are just on his snout at the front, but his eyes are on the side. And the lights are dim in the cockpit as we're drifting. We're starting to hit a stream of kind of planetary dust has come from the mining base and just floats out from it through the area. And I just see in really noticing the stars of the space in front of me, but catching my reflection in that domed glass of a older person, sort of a translucent glass-like skin, just deep sapphire eyes, four of them, and hair that you think is initially white, but is actually of almost like fiber optics. So it shifts in colors and sort of is able to twist and bend to create different shapes. So it's just currently in a couple different sort of horned shapes, mimicking Cornelius. And I have another larger cardboard crown that I sort of just hung on the one side. And we have a low, heavy beat of some sort of house music, but it's at a very soft level where it feels more like a rumbling going through the ship, sort of mixing in with the sounds of pressurized gas that lets off, creating a organic symphony in the space that I just jive with.
How many times have you had to repair your ship?
Many times. There's been times where I think I see something really cool on a passing like asteroid or some floating junk and get battered quite a bit when you try and land and it doesn't go well, or you try and dock and something comes by and hits. Because when you're out in the voidness of space, there's no really knowing the trajectory of floating rubble.
You have a lot of trinkets. Have you ever thought about getting a bigger ship for more trinkets?
It has come to mind, but what I ultimately decided on was if I want more trinkets, I need to trade the ones that I have and tell those stories first so that they can be passed on.
What is Cornelius's story?
Cornelius. Well, there was a planet, and it was a very rocky planet, lots of volcanic activity, but there was life. It did sustain life. And of course, the villages and towns and stuff were all stone structures, or they molded magma up to create the fort, like the walls and the structures, almost just, sculpture essentially. And I went down ready to do some trading, and there was another person there who's doing trading, and they had been there for a while. They say it was their favorite planet. And I caught Cornelius sort of just sitting as I looked up into their sort of ship stuff, just sitting there off to the side. And I point him out. I'm like, hey, what's that? And they tell me, oh, that's just a stuffed dragon from the planet Draknoid. And I won it in a carnival game. It's like, oh, well, can I win them? And I convinced them to get into a game with me, as I'm one to do, and be silly about pretending not knowing what the game is about. And I managed to win Cornelius. They didn't give him a name at the time, but I said, well, I'm going to name him Cornelius then.
Are there any games you don't know?
Oh, I know a lot. I know a lot because I love to hustle people, because it also gets them talking at the same time. That's probably my favorite part of it. I mean, the winning too, but I like getting people to talk. There's probably some games out there I don't know just because I haven't been to those places yet that play them. Which that intrigues me. I like learning a new game. That's another thing to trade.
Were the crowns also won in games?
I think my crown came from a restaurant in another system called Hamperduke's Palace. So it just has really gaudy, bright lettering of Hamperdukes on the front. And then after I got that and I got Cornelius, I decided, well, Cornelius needs a crown if we're going to wear crowns in the cockpit. So I just sort of paper craft a crown together for him and wrote his name, Cornelius, on it and put it on his head.
Would you ever consider dethroning Cornelius for another?
That's sacrilege. Blasphemy. None will take Cornelius's place.
Who's the real captain of your ship, you or Cornelius?
Or your llama friend?
It's Humphreys.
It's Humphreys.
Very stoically sitting on the front panel.
You said that you like playing games with people because it also gets them talking. Have you ever gotten a piece of information you are not supposed to learn? And what was it?
Oh yeah, it's happened. There was one time at a complete dive, I was playing with someone very burly. He came in with a group of people, and he ended up being a pirate. And after a couple drinks and still like going back and forth, he wouldn't let me go. When I was winning, he was like, no, you got to stay until I win something. I was like, oh God. And then since he was pretty sloshed, they started getting into details of their smuggling operation, and I was starting sweating. I was like, oh, that's nice, buddy. And And I'm looking over to where his friends are, because I'm like, oh God, if they overhear him talking to me, they're going to have to take me. I'm going to learn too much. Or they may just clear up my ship, because I haven't said if I have a ship or anything, they may follow me. Luckily, I just pretended like I was sloshed too and didn't understand what he was saying. And I was just a very lucky drunk.
Have you ever won anything illegal?
Oh, yes. There was once where we emptied pockets. It got down to the final round. We just emptied our pockets to the pile. And someone threw in this bright, almost caustic liquid in a vial. And at the time, I didn't quite understand what it was. I know a couple of people sort of gasped at it. And I found out later it was a very, it was a liquid fluid of a type of corrosion that, if even the slightest drop poured out onto metal, it sort of rippled through the metal sheet and ate it up in 10 seconds.
That would fuck up a ship.
Yep.
What'd you do with it?
Well, I know I may not be the safest person to have that, because my ship gets battered up quite a bit and I don't want it to crash and break on my ship. So I went to the nearest terminal or station where I can safely and anonymously hand it in with a note saying this was material recovered to be handed in for safety reasons.
Sorry, that's terrifying. I'm just imagining eating your ship and then just ejected.
Yep. I do have a tiny little escape pod that's just enough to fit me. And unfortunately, I'd have to sacrifice Cornelius, but I'll take Humphreys.
Have you ever been in a situation where you thought you might have to use your escape pod?
Yes. There was once where I was drifting by sort of twin nova stars, and there wasn't any communications going on in the area, just the solar energies they were giving off disrupted any signals. But in the time, I noticed the one smaller twin star was getting a little too close to the bigger one. And it sent out a solar flare that waved out and sent my ship completely tumbling through space, sort of corkscrewing on the way through. And at one point, I did bash off an asteroid in the nearby system as I just jettisoned right across. It was very sickening, very frightening. And the whole reason why I now glue down all my trinkets.
I don't have any more questions. Does anyone else have any more questions?
I'm so happy with what I've learned so far.
Same. I'm just enjoying this storytelling session that I'm getting.
Of all of the lovely trinkets?
Yes.
All right. So in that case, where are you going?
I've been getting some noise on the space waves that sounds like there might be enough people around to do some trades with. So I'm going to head towards a little satellite that I'm seeing way off on the distant radar. Boink.
Akemi, do you want to have a solo scene or do you want to have a scene with anybody? Sorry. I'm just laughing at World. Same spot.
I think I'll start with the solo, and then
Okay.
anyone who wants to jump in.
Okay, that's fair. Because it is, this place is actually a bunch of dozens of drifting rigs. So it's kind of hard for us to be like all in one spot. So, yes. What does this scene look like?
So this one is actually a regular stop on my career route. Because it's a bunch of, drifting rigs. They are autonomous, but they need regular deliveries of parts and fuel and oil to keep all the machinery working in outer space. So this one's known to me that there's like the one foreman who kind of like makes sure all the rigs are still working and kind of monitors that. And he and I go way back because, again, this is my one of my regular stops that I just, every 3 months or so, regardless of where else I have to be, this is one of the spots I have to come and visit so that they get their maintenance materials and can keep these automated rigs, mining, and just battering up the asteroids and doing the space stuff. I just drop off the parts.
How did you get this gig? This is a good gig. 4 times a year. That's a steady job. Like, how did you get it?
I answered an ad because they said they needed someone who could reliably deliver parts, and I was like, I can do that. And I guess got here first, and they're like, well, let's see how you do. And since then I've regularly brought parts to the rig.
Was this what you saw yourself doing when you bought a spaceship and set out, or did you initially have other goals?
This wasn't what I planned to do, but money is good and useful for purchasing goods and services. So having a regular paycheck was great. I mean, I was hoping to find something completely different. I wasn't looking for adventure, but I wanted to know more about the rest of the galaxy. What's out there? And, well, this is out there. Parts of the galaxy aren't as interesting as people think.
So is this ad that you answered, is this what kicked off your delivery service career?
Yeah, I think it did. Not intentionally, but I realized picking up things and delivering them to other places in the galaxy lets me go see things in other places of the galaxy. So I enjoyed it.
I can't remember if we've asked this previously, so if I did, just ignore me. But do you have a favorite delivery? We did get the favorite delivery, I think.
Well, we got the strangest thing.
Strangest. We had the strangest.
Yes. So what's your most favorite delivery that you've ever done?
A photo album full of memories that were like there was, I think it was to a researcher stationed out at probably the research station, and they hadn't seen their family in years because they kept getting sucked into research, as researchers can do sometimes, or they forget to do things
Like eat.
like eat or sleep. But when I delivered it, they were just so ecstatic and sad at the same time. But they said it felt good to be remembered. And I think that was my favorite thing that I've delivered.
Is there anything that you cannot come back here without doing? Just something fun, not something necessary, not something for work, just something fun here that you have to do every time you come back.
There's a bit of a obstacle course almost for ships if you want to take the harder way to get in. And I have to like fly through the rigs just to show off and have fun, do it. It's really not practical. It's definitely not safe, and like the safety regulations say do not do this. But every time I gotta, see if I can thread that needle and make that landing.
Do you make the landing today?
Only scratch the paint a little bit. It's fine. It's fine.
You see in the distance as you like disboard your ship, just like two pairs of orange hands just clapping in the distance.
Oh, hello.
The two left hands, and you hear just faintly, "Hello. Nice landing."
And
Done better. I scratched the paint this time, but
next to this very tall being is a very short being in his little space suit. See a little rodent face behind the helmet, also clapping. That was
does the helmet have ears?
I do have ears.
No, does the helmet have?
Oh my god, yes, the helmet has ears.
Okay.
That is great maneuvering. That was so cool.
My ship is good for some things. Maneuvering's one of them. When it wants to. Other times it's when the engine doesn't work, that's a different issue. But when the engine's working fine, this thing can go fast and look cool doing it.
Do you race?
Not officially. I did just fairly recently race some birds. They have a whole circuit and track for racing.
Where?
Is it public viewing?
Oh, it's up at Tyr. Oh, the planet, not the moon, but so it's kind of out of the way, and it's really, really cold. But if you can get there, they have like an arena for it.
Maybe I should take a trip out that direction sometime. It's really cool.
Be careful though. The birds are rather big, and I'm not sure. I don't know that much about birds, but I think they have the pokey beaks. So you might want to be careful.
Okay. Oh yeah, what's your name?
Also, what do we see?
Yeah.
Basically, you see a human.
Yes.
Just a normal ass human.
I love it.
Just a normal human. Like slightly tall for humans, so well, not for a human, but about 5'8"
So I'm looking down. Squeak's looking up.
Yep.
You just start calling me Squeak.
Yep.
Can I just start calling you like bass, like bass, the tone?
Sure. Yeah. Go for it. You can call me Fish too if you really want.
Fish.
Yeah, bass.
Oh, yes. I think I like bass better.
Hi Squeak. Hi Bass.
Our
I'm
vocal
Varen.
What was your name?
Varen.
Varen. Hi.
Hi, nice to meet you. And you feel that vibe in your head, just this feeling of identity.
Oh,
But
that's why
you
you're
know,
base.
they call me Base, yeah.
And then you get a little squeak sound, but also different vocal cords can't make certain sounds, so squeak is fine.
I call them Squeak.
Hello, nice to meet you. I normally never really see anyone out here.
Oh, we're just stopping by, I think.
I mean, there's not much. Bunch of automated rigs.
I do have a question.
I was hoping to offload. Go for it.
I was going to actually ask, Natalie, does your ship come up?
Yeah, I was gonna say that as you were all talking, you see what I initially think might be just a really big blob of trash starting to float in. You catch the sputter of lights kind of flickering on within the cockpit area, and you see this ship just slowly coming in, and
Things are
the face.
crashing?
Don't try to thread the needle in that. Don't try to thread that needle in that. Don't try to thread the needle in that.
Oh my gosh. It looks like so many things are going to fall off.
It does avoid threading the needle. It just like looks like it's going to head for it, and then does a full pivot around, and then come back, and then slowly starts to descend into the dock.
We don't need another carnelian.
And then just the hissing of everything as it locks in, and then everything opens up.
And the two arms just waving.
Oh. Hello.
There's a lot. This is the most amount of people I've seen in like a very long time. And it actually feels kind of great. I'm not gonna lie.
I think this is more than what I had at the terminal. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's different.
At a satellite system, no less. System satellite?
Hey, new friend, who are you?
Oh, I'm in, as they're about to say something, they just, the color of their hair, the fiber optics go into a bright sort of magenta purple as the coloration sort of seeps down through their skin. Like, but people call me Colors.
Nice to meet you, Colors. And you feel the vibe. But these guys call me Base.
And as I feel your vibe, my color changes. And what do you think your vibe would be if it was a color?
So I think given the color, given how I look, a lot of people would assume it's orange. But it's actually a pale green.
So that's the color you get back from me as you send in that vibe. Like, cool. So what are you all doing here? I'm just looking to trade stuff. I wasn't actually expecting people, but I got stuff to trade, yeah.
Hold up. And you see Base reach into their pocket and pull out a small container of kind of like a bright tealish sediment. Picked this up a while back. If you think you can help me identify it, I'll happily trade you some.
Yeah, maybe I got some records or something in my cabinets. Not all of you can fit in there at once. We might have to do a one person at a time tour.
I like that attitude.
Okay, yeah, sure, let's go. And squeeze everybody in.
Also, if we want to, like, if you want to grab some stuff, we can all go to my ship, which is that one. And I point to the jumbo graffitied one. There's plenty of room. Well, it's cluttered, but there's plenty of room where we can all stay in there and not have to wear our spacesuits.
Sleep over at Squeak's place?
Okay.
I apologize.
By the way,
books.
hi, I'm Varen. I was just delivering parts for the rig, but
Akemi, question. The foreman. What do they think of all these random people just showing up?
he on one hand he's very confused, because again, no one ever really comes out here. On the other hand, he's like, oh, does this mean I have to like go find the good stuff and like offer hospitality? Oh, I don't know how to do that. So he's like torn between what are all these people doing here? And oh no, am I supposed to be a good host? How do I do that? I am so out of practice because I don't have to interact with anyone like almost ever.
They literally just see you 4 times a year.
Yeah. Like they
Basically-
wanted this job because it was like so remote and has like no human interaction
Oh my god.
or no like outside interaction for the most part.
Now a bunch of people.
And occasionally they'll like message, the mining company and being like, yeah, everything's working fine, or this broke, send an extra part for this.
Now a bunch of people show up and
party.
show up and turn into like a temporary space trailer park.
Oh my god. Yes.
So he's like really not sure what to do about all this.
Looking like from around the corner.
And actually, especially because he's got a very, very long neck that lets him kind of look around the corner.
Oh my god.
And he's like, do I want to? No, I don't know. No.
Nope. Oh my god, your 2 waving hands. Yeah, so I would invite everyone back to my ship if you would like.
Yeah.
Can I bring out the Can I bring out the spray paint?
Yes, you may bring out the spray paint.
I go diving into the spray words. Spray paint.
Y'all
And
wanna
as
see
the
the
2 of you come back, you just feel like the spray paint being shoved into your hands.
Yeah, if you want, you can sign my ship.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Oh. Okay. I get a pale pink, and then I get like assortment of rainbow colors. And then I very much go to work and do like a very graphic cartoon depiction of Humphreys. He's in a majestic, like leaping pose. And I put a unicorn horn on him. And he's got a rainbow of color waving behind him.
He's perfect.
I am not as artistic, and I basically just draw like a smiley face.
But what color is a smiley face?
What color do I get handed?
You get 4 colors offered to you.
I think one of them's a purple, and it's like a purple smiley face. Yeah, I don't know what else to do, but I signed a ship.
Thank
Important
you.
question. Are your smiley faces, are the eyes dots or lines?
Ovals. And being that I'm not super good with the spray paint, it drips a little because I put a little too much.
For the charm.
It's perfect. And you are told, it's perfect. Oh, I completely forgot. There is one last part, if it's okay if I cut in for this ending of the scene. Akemi, what do you leave behind and what do you take? From System Satellite 415. Because I forgot there's technically epilogues.
Yeah, we could have gone on forever.
We could have gone
Yeah.
on forever.
I mean, I obviously leave the parts that are supposed to be delivered, so that the mining rig can keep doing its thing. And what do I take? I think I'd like to trade something with each of you, and I'll take that.
I give you
yeah.
a book of fairy tales from a distant galaxy.
what I pull out of the cabinet is there's this little plush toy. It's very round, has big rounded ears, almost looks like it would be a rounded mouse, but it has a weird pouch on the front of it that you can flip it around and it goes around its body and tucks it in. It has sort of a plastic face that's all weathered, so a lot of the paint is already missing, and it has this really scraggly tail, and it looks like it had a full ball on the end of it, but it's now just little strips of fabric. So a well-loved toy of some sort. And I give that to you.
And I roamed around seeing like what kind of things have been left on my ship. And I give you a toy, another toy. It's a new one. It's a cube it's a puzzle that you can take apart and put together. And, well, if you're smart, you can take it apart and put it back together. And the colors will line up. Actually, I'm not sure if you're supposed to take it apart, but the colors are supposed to line up. I've never figured it out. So that's what I will give to colors.
And I will give you a small holographic tool that when you hit the little button, it pops up with a life form that you are not familiar with. And engraved on the base of the little the little hollow hologram pedestal is a series of characters that you are not familiar with. And base just tells you that's the name of the species, I think.
I think I take part of my I go into my ship, find I have a small radio. It doesn't work. I don't know why I put it there, but I give it to base, and maybe this will work for you. I couldn't get it to work on my ship. Maybe you'll have more luck.
They turn it over in their hands and then look at you, and you feel a vibe of gratitude.
And to Squeak, I think actually Squeak will get another one of the flowers.
It's so pretty. Thank you.
Well, you like pretty things that you can see in your house or your ship. So,
If you will allow it, I will give you a hug around your knees.
absolutely.
All right. As we separate and begin to fly off in our own directions, we will go into epilogues and also do our sign-offs for the game, because this will be the end of the game. So if you would like, we'll go around, say what we took or left behind, if you would like, and so on and so forth. So also just don't forget to tell us who you are, where we can find you, and so on and so forth. Who would like to go first?
Hi. Okay.
Okay, there we go.
Taking and leaving behind. I think we kind of already did that with our trades.
Okay.
So I'm going to take that for my trade. Hi, friends. I have been Jen, aka Jenburb. I can be found on social media as Jenburb. If I am not Jenburb, as Akemi said, I am probably not there. I can most usually be found over on Girls Run These Worlds, helping to run these worlds, and on the up-and-coming Lore Mistress's channel. I suspect she's asleep because it is, in fact, like very late where she is now. But I can be found over there. So keep an eye on that channel for up-and-coming things, and I'll popcorn it to whoever wants to go next.
I guess we can go in the order we've been going in with all the rounds and stuff. Yeah, I'm fine with the trade that we did. That seemed like a good send out there. So I'm Natalie. I'm found on most places on the internet with Ghost Candle or Ghostly Candle on my own streaming channels of Twitch and YouTube. I do art. I play games. When I'm not doing my own stuff, I float around at everybody else's tables. So I've been on Girls with Worlds. I'm over on Zeal Zaddy, which we're doing up and coming Old Gods of Appalachia soon. So that's going to be fun. I'm going to be dressed up and hoping to get a beard on. And I'll be over on Sweet Rosie's channel in a couple weeks too, doing a Brindlewood with the creator of Brindlewood Bay. So that's going to be super fun. And yeah, that's it. Yeah, follow for all the updates and stuff.
Akemi, Ninja Penguin AM, wherever I exist on social media. Again, if you don't find Ninja Penguin AM, I probably don't exist there. Let's see. I make games, I play games, I do stuff. You can find my games at Ninja Penguin AM at itch. You can find me Monday nights at Friends Who Roll Dice. The next 3 Tuesdays at Nerds with Dice at noon Pacific. Friends Who Roll Dice is Monday at 6. And in theory, Neon and Lights roleplay every other-ish Wednesday for Stardust Ghosts. That's me.
Hello, I'm Mare. You can find me on places such as Twitter, Tumblr, and Blue Sky at Archmage of Dice. I'm not really using them right now, but they exist. You can find me here mostly right now on Saturdays for a couple more episodes of Season 3 of Horizon's Call on Saturdays at 6 p.m. Eastern. And on Fridays at Valdrian's channel at 6 p.m. Eastern, we just picked up Season 2 of our Avatar Legends game, so join us tomorrow night. Yeah, so just keep an eye on the channel. We've got a couple games on Sundays of Humblewood, and social medias exist. Go check them out. It's late. I'm tired. But thank you for joining us, everybody, for helping us raise money for the Native American Rights Fund. We are going to go raid Critical Misses, who are playing a game of Tidebreaker. So everybody, go give them some love. We'll see you around. Thank you so much. And also thank you so much to Anna Mariah for creating this absolutely wonderful game. Reminder, if you want to go check it out, go support the creator. I just put the itch in chat again. And we will see you around, everybody. Bye. All right. We have rated.
We did it.
We did it.
Woo!
We did it.